Hi, so today I'm going to be using Mary Kay products to do my face. um, what I usually like to start out with is moisturizer. This one is Clean and Clear Morning Burst. It's a gel. It has like a cooling effect and it feels good like on your eyes. So I just like to rub it around. Make sure to get everywhere. You can use whatever moisturizer you want. It just helps you with dry patches so the foundation won't stick to the dry patches and it looks just like, I guess, healthy, like moisturized. I like to bring it down my neck a bit. Okay. Then I usually like to put on chapstick so that while you're doing your face before you put on lipstick, it just hydrates your lips. You don't have to do this. It's just something I do. So now I'm just taking the NYX Honey Do Me Up Primer. And I like primers that are kind of sticky, like this one, because it helps the foundation stick to your skin. If you use something that isn't really sticky, I feel like, at least for my skin, it kind of just like doesn't stay as well. And I like to put this everywhere: cheeks, forehead, nose, chin, my neck. And I kind of just rub this in too, like you would your moisturizer. You want to bring it up to your hairline too. And when I do my makeup, I like to just have my hair back, wearing a big t-shirt so that none of the powders will get my outfit for later dirty. And so your hair is just out of the way. So now I'm going to be taking this Matte 3D foundation base, and this is the shade, which shade are you? Ivory C100. It's a liquid consistency. I'm going to put on my damp beauty blender. You want to make sure it's damp so that it just glides better on the skin. And what I do is I put little dots around my face before I start blending it in. And I like to make sure my piercings are away. Now to use this, you just use like tapping motions like this. The shade might be a little too white because I've been in the sun, but we could fix that with bronzer later. And you just pat it all over the face with just tapping motions. Want to make sure it's even. And you gotta bring it down to the neck so you don't get a line where your jaw stops. And sometimes I do like the tip of the ear just so it's not, doesn't like stop there either. And you want to make sure you get all the creases. Just carry it down. This foundation says it's matte, and it looks pretty matte. There's like a little shine to it, but I don't mind it. Just gonna get right up in the under the eyes. And the nose. You just want to make sure it's blended into the hairline nicely without it getting in your hair. Okay, now I'm gonna take this concealer. This is by e.l.f. It's 16-hour camo concealer, and this is in the shade medium peach. And I'm gonna conceal where I have darkness under my eyes. And I like to use it as eyeshadow primer, so I'm going to take it on my eyelids as well. You can use actual eyeshadow primer, but I just like to use concealer and blend it out and then put powder on top of it. And I'm going to take some on my nose, in the center of my forehead. Anywhere you have acne or just anything you want to like cover up better. I like to use a decent amount. And with the same beauty sponge, you just tap this into. This isn't the real Beauty Blender. This one is by e.l.f. It's maybe like $4 or $5. You can get it anywhere like Walmart, anywhere that they sell e.l.f. products. I think Target too. And I'm just gonna pounce this under my eyes, and I like to take it up the temples a bit and then down towards my cheek. To get really underneath the eye, I like to just look up and use the point to really get in there. I think the foundation looks pretty good. It's pretty full coverage, which is what I like. Okay. And I just like to go over and just make sure everything is blended thoroughly before I set it with my powder. You can use a brush. I personally don't like the brushes because I feel like it leaves brush marks, but if I do have to use a brush, I just go in with the Beauty Blender over top of it anyway. So now for setting powder, I'm just going to use Airspun. You can get this anywhere too, like Walmart, Walgreens. And I like to tap it in the lid. It's just easier for me to get. And to set this, I'm going to use this brush. This is an It Techniques brush. I'm not sure which one this is, but I use it for face powder. And I just dip it in here, tap off the excess so it doesn't go everywhere. And I just start patting it in. And you want to tap and not swipe, because if you swipe, then it disrupts the base of the foundation. Only time I swipe it is when I do my neck to go up and down. The powder just helps you lock in the foundation so it lasts longer throughout the day. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my damp beauty sponge and I'm going to put it in the powder like that. And I like to press it where I crease, so like in my smile lines. And I'm going to let it sit for a minute. Some people call this baking. When you let the powder sit like this, it just helps it sink into like the crease better and helps it just not get that crease line. I like to do my chin. And I'm going to do a little under my eyes because I can crease there too. I don't like to do too much under my eyes, otherwise it looks like kind of dry and powdery. But we wipe this off later on. We don't leave it like this. Okay. Now, while that sits, I'm going to do my eyebrows. So I have the Precision Brow Liner, and this is in the shade Dark Brunette. Only thing I wish this had was a spoolie like this one. You can get these anywhere, like at a beauty supply store, Amazon, just to help the product blend into the hairs better. So what I'm going to do first, actually, is I'm going to brush my hairs just to get any of the powder out and get them ready for this brow product. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to start at the bottom and do brush strokes, little brush strokes into the hairs. And I like to follow my natural shape. And I just slowly go up. And you want to occasionally brush it through just so the product is even and it doesn't clump up. I do like this color. I have almost black hair, pretty much black hair, and it goes pretty well with it. It's not too dark or too light. Okay. I'm gonna finish the tail end and just fill this in. And I don't like to do it too much in the front because then it doesn't look natural. So I usually kind of go back and forth with the spoolie to have like a fade look effect to the front. Because if you do it too much in the front, then it just looks blocky and it doesn't really look natural. And now I'm just going to touch up spots that I missed. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. All right, now I'm gonna do the next one. And just do the same thing, just start at the bottom, get your outline going, and then work your way up. Just following your natural shape. And just brushing through. You don't want it to look too thick with the product. You just want to take your time, you don't have to rush. And now I'm just filling it in. Just a lot of going back and forth, brushing, filling. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So now what I'm gonna do to keep the hairs in place is I'm gonna use brow gel. This one is by Maybelline Brow Drama, and this one's just a brown color. It's just like a dark brown kind of. And I'm gonna take the product at the top of it. That's where the most of the product is. I'm gonna tap it in the middle of the brow, and I'm gonna use the spoolie part to comb it through. And this just helps keeps the hairs in place so they don't move. I like to brush the ones in the front up to look natural, and then I lay them down flat towards the back of the eyebrow. And I'm going to do the same thing to this one. This works good using brow gel, especially if you go to a party, go to a concert, they won't come off. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm gonna wipe off this extra powder that's been sitting. Okay, so now I'm going to use bronzer and contour to warm up my face, give me color. This helps with dimension too, so your face doesn't look flat like mine right now. So right now I'm using the Mary Kay bronzer, illuminating bronzer, and this is in the shade Gilding Glow. It's pretty shiny. This is what it looks like. And then for contour, I'm gonna use Latte. And this is what this one looks like. It's like a little darker brown. You don't want to use anything too dark because then it just looks muddy. So I'm just gonna take this brush. It's like a dome brush. And I'm just gonna tap it in. And I like to tap off the excess too. So when I bronze, I do the outer third of my face. So forehead, down the cheeks, down the jawline, neck area, same thing. It's kind of like the number 3. So I'm gonna start with my forehead, and I'm gonna tap it in first and just work my way down. Some people like matte bronzer, so if you like matte, this might not be the right one for you because it does have a little shimmer. It's not overwhelming, but it's kind of there. And I'm just gonna tap it in here. I'm gonna bring it down to about here. The way that I find the deeper parts of my face is I look straight, and you can kind of see on this side, I haven't put anything here yet, I have like a shadow. That's where I'm gonna put my bronzer. to make it look like I have cheekbones when I really don't. I'm going to tap it first, and I'm going to swipe back and forth and just bring it up a little bit just to blend it out. You want to just swirl it. You don't want to be too heavy-handed. And I like to bring it into my temple a little bit, just on the outside. Now I don't look as pale. I like to even bring it on my cheekbone a little bit because we're gonna put highlighter on top of it anyway and blush just to help it blend out. And I'm gonna put some on my cheekbone, my jawline now. I just put a little bit and I just go back and forth, and I even do back by the ear and just down the neck, just to give me a little color. Nothing too heavy on the neck though. Now I'm gonna do the other side. I usually like to start tapping the product in and then swiping a little bit, but I try not to swipe too much because I don't want the foundation to come off with it. And I like to bring it down to like middle of my forehead, maybe, your preference. And whatever's left over on the brush without tapping in anything extra, I just bring it more to the center to help blend it out so it's not just like a harsh line of product left. You want to make sure it's in the hairline good. You don't even have to contour sometimes. Sometimes the bronzer can be your contour. It just depends on your mood, I guess. Contour you put in the inner part of the bronzer just to help deepen it more. I'm just gonna swipe it. Just kind of swirl it onto my cheekbone more. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna move on to my neck on this side. Just kind of swirl it back and forth. And if you feel like you did too much, you can always go back in with your face powder. Oh, the color I got for Airspun, it was Naturally Neutral. But they have different shades. You don't have to get that one. Doing it under the neck kind of gives you more of a jawline. And I'm just gonna make sure everything's nice and blended. Now what I like to do is I like to put some on my nose so that my nose doesn't look so flat. It gives it kind of like dimension. I like to do the very tip of it. And I'm gonna run it down the center just a little bit, on the sides and in the middle. Just very lightly. You don't want to be too heavy. You just want to have dimension in your nose. I mostly do it on the sides. Now you look warm and healthy. Just make sure it's blended. Now I'm going to take my face brush with leftover product on it and just tap over it just to help clean it up a bit, help blend it too. Down the center of the nose just to help highlight it more. Now I'm going to take the contour. I'm just going to contour a little bit, just in the deepest parts of my face. Right there, like the outermost corner. You just want to tap it and just kind of blend it in forward and up. Swipe it in a little bit. And whatever's left, I just like to sweep it on the highest points of my forehead. What contouring the forehead does is it kind of makes it look like smaller. Okay. Now I'm gonna do blush, and blush is one of my favorite things to do because I think it just looks cute. So I'm gonna take the Mary Kay Juicy Peach. This is what it looks like. There's a little shine to it. Doesn't look that bad in person. I'm going to take this brush. This is a Real Techniques brush. It's kind of like a dome brush, but it has a little tip at the top. And I'm just going to tap it in and tap off the excess.